Hello and welcome everybody. This is Noel Garcia. I am an astrologer. This is Astrology for Healing and Evolution. Today, I want to talk to you about Pluto in Aquarius. This is going to be the first part of two videos that I'm going to do on Pluto in Aquarius because it's a very, very important topic that we are all starting to feel. So I'm going to do one on Pluto in Aquarius on the political side of that and the impacts on the political spheres. And then I'm going to do one on the technology impact as well. So let's start with Pluto in Aquarius. For those of you that follow astrology, you will know that since the 20th of January 2024, Pluto has been in Aquarius. And now it's going to stay there permanently, except for a couple of months at the end of 2024. Okay, so we've really now started the time when Pluto will be in Aquarius. And it will be in Aquarius for 20 years. It's a very long time, and it's going to be a very, let's say, moved and with a lot of changes at times for massive changes. Okay, so brace yourself, put on your seatbelt, because things are going to get very interesting. First of all, why do I think this time that of Pluto in Aquarius is going to be very powerful? Well, a couple of reasons. One is because simply Pluto in Aquarius happens every 250 years, or every 248 to be precise, because that's the time it takes Pluto to go around the sun. So last time Pluto was in Aquarius was at the time of the French Revolution and the American independence. So those two events were massive. They had a massive impact on the rest of the world. So we can expect similar things coming in the next 20 years. That's the magnitude of events that we are up against. At the same time, we just had in 2020 a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. And this was the first conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in an air sign since 800 years. Okay? So we are starting 200 years now. Jupiter and Saturn are going to be in conjunctions in air signs for 200 years. Then they will switch to water and then fire, then earth again. So we've been 200 years of Jupiter and Saturn in Earth, and now we start in air. So the fact that we're having Pluto entering Aquarius and Jupiter and Saturn both conjuncting in Aquarius, these two things happening at the same time is huge. And this hasn't happened in just, I don't know, thousands of years. I haven't even bothered checking that far back. It's basically very, very, very rare. So that means that the energy of Aquarius is going to be maximized and super strong. So what is Aquarius? How can we understand Aquarius? Well, Aquarius is is an air sign, first of all, which means it's a mental sign. It's a sign of communicating. It's a sign where it's about what we know, not about what we have. You know, the last 200 years, with Jupiter, Saturn conjunctions in Earth has been about what we had. Now it's going to be about what we know. So knowledge is going to be very, very key. Aquarius is also a sign of the humanitarian. Okay. The humanitarian is going to be very important, which means that we're going to start feeling for our fellow citizens, our fellow human beings. So you see, Aquarius is a sign where the group is important, where because it's opposite Leo. Leo is about the individual, Aquarius is about the group, and it's a sign about that looks to the future, and that's why it's a sign linked to revolutions because the people start looking to the future and seeing what they really want and it's realizing that they can actually bring it to the present. So it's the sign of the unconventional, anti-mainstream. It's the sign also that looks for equality among human beings, that looks for dignity for human beings. It's a sign which is anti-hierarchies. It's a sign of the liberty, equality, and fraternity. These were the three the slogan of the French Revolution, right? So those are the principles of Aquarius. And then we put that together with Pluto, and Pluto is about change, is about transformation, is about facing the truth, is really about facing the truth, is really about facing the authentic and real truth. Not the one we wish to see, but the one that really is. So Pluto really takes us to the essence and makes us see what is rotten so that we change it. So when you put Pluto together with Aquarius, well, you have the recipe for big revolutions because people start to see what is rotten and people start to see the future. So then you put that together and you have a revolution. So what's going to happen on a political level? Well, many things. A few things first. Those countries where there are hierarchies, where there is one person in charge and that's it, like Russia, like China, like Iran and Cuba, that's where we can have massive changes because people are not going to take it for much longer to have dictatorships. People realize that that's not a fair system and they're going to want change. And Aquarius is a sign that wants a flatter society. So that's why it brings down those in power. And that's what happened at the time of the French Revolution or at the time of the American independence. Those who were in power, those who were brought down, and yes, there were wars, yes, there were conflicts, but at the end, the new ideas prevailed. So any country with in a sort of dictatorship situation will be challenged. At the same time, um, expect also a tense situation and social unrest in the US, in France, in Peru, because those countries were very much at the forefront of the revolutions that happened 250 years ago, more or less. So, and we already started to feel it. We feel it in France with the farmers' protests that really erupted there. And we see it in the US where there is massive tension between Democrats and Republicans, and anything can light up a conflict there. People are very tense and they're not talking to each other, they're not listening to each other. So things can explode at any moment. At the same time, what else can we see? Well, we can expect a new social contract between the elites and the people. Okay. So again, that's going to be very important that countries realize that people are not going to take the elites enjoying and being in power and sort of taking advantage of the people anymore. They're going to want more accountability. Um, Also, democracies could become more participative democracies as opposed to representative democracies because now we have mobile phones. With mobile phones and the internet, anybody can participate in the decision of anything that is important to them. So why should there be people representing us in a parliament? We could be participating in the decision making, and we're going to be expected to participate in the decision making more and more. So that means decentralization. there's going to be a massive movement of decentralization, where decisions are taken at the local level, where they're having an impact. At the same time, I think this could also be the beginning of the end of the nation state. The nation state was built upon the land, the people that were based on a land. Right now, with the internet, with communications, with social media, we are very connected to people that are not on our same land. And that means that we are establishing communication and contact with them, which means that we may have more in common with somebody on the other side of the earth than with our neighbor. And that means that, well, why should we have a flag that says everybody living in this area are Spanish or French or American or Mexican or whatever, when actually, yes, culture is important, but there starts to be now other links being created through the internet. So that's going to weaken nation states. Patriarchal systems where there's been a male dominance, where men have been in power and women repressed, that's going to end as well. With Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is going to want equality, is going to want dignity. So we're going to have really the end of that system that was a system more linked to Earth and to Capricorn period. So, and we're starting to see that massively already, and it's going to spread throughout the world. Another massive change is going to be the end of neo-slavery. Last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the beginning of the end of slavery. Now that Pluto's in Aquarius will be the beginning of the end of the neo-slavery, where people have been exploited in jobs which they haven't had much choice but to do. Now people are going to rise up and say, hey, I'm not going to be exploited. I'm going to be paid a fair salary. I'm going to work fair hours. And that's across the globe, which means that people are going to say, right, if I'm going to be paid more, then everything I produce is going to be worth more. Then we're going to have inflation. So we're going to have things worth more. And people are going to have to start realizing that we got to all pay a bit more for things because they're going to be made by people that are not exploited, whether it's clothes, whether it's cars, whether it's everything. So that's a massive change, and many of those people will be also replaced by machines. So people don't want to do difficult jobs, hard jobs, working in fields, working in factories. So robots are going to start taking the place of people as well for those sort of jobs. Minorities will rise up, so it's going to be gay rights are going to expand. Gender is going to become more and more a fluid thing. Racial minorities are going to become more visible, and there's going to be justice for racial minorities and justice as well for colonialism. So colonialism and the effects of colonialism over the last 500 years over communities that are still feeling the impacts of that are going to be revised. The fact that the West is still on a different level, still colonializing with its culture, with its mentality. We are still in the West colonializing the rest of the world, trying to impose and trying to show the rest of the world that our way of life is the best way of life and that everybody should adopt democracy and capitalism and this way to exploit nature. Whereas we're going to start realizing now with Pluto in Aquarius that, hey, there are other ways to live. There are other culture, there are other systems which are equally as good and as respectable as the West's lifestyle and system, whether on a medical level or whether on an education level. So or any level, really, for that matter. So people are going to be able to be free and choose if they want to live under one system or another. Um, I think minorities will be more and more respected, and their lifestyles will be more respected and preserved. So there is going to be a massive change, I think, over the next 20 years. Over the next 10 years already, this is when we're going to see the biggest changes, and really the social unrest is going to happen. And really, it's then going to be a domino effect. So the change is going to happen in one country or another, and then things are going to roll forward, and things are going to change in other places. So it's a massive change at the level of society. I think we can definitely look forward to it. I think it's going to be positive for everybody. Well, for everybody, for all those that align with what is coming. If some people want to resist and stay in the old system, well, that's going to be then difficult for them. And there's going to be conflict. Yes, there's going to be conflict, because no big changes don't happen without conflict. But I think it's a conflict that is worthwhile, that is going to bring more equality, more dignity, more liberty for everybody. And I think it's going to be better, because we're going to be able to really sort of like value um, each um, ethnicity, each group of people, each culture. And that's going to really bring the wealth of those nations, of those people, back for humanity. You see, so I think we're gonna be richer, but richer in the greatest sense of the word, which is more wealthier, because we're gonna have way more knowledge, way more um, uh, knowledge and lifestyles, languages, everything to choose and to benefit from. Okay, so I think this is going to be a great time um, to really look forward to, and we're going to have massive changes at all levels in society. Right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a like. That'd be really appreciated. And subscribe to my channel. And I'll be back with the second half of this video, which will be focused on Pluto in Aquarius and its impact on technology, because technology is a massive part of that as well. Okay, so stay tuned for that. See you soon. Bye.